I'll try to come in on it. Something in the key of D. In that neighborhood. If you don't mind. Are we back online? Oh my God, are we actually online? I think someone's telling me an untruth.
Could be.
Okay, I'll bring up your guitars. You guys want to go?
We should be moving forward from schedule.
All right, start with it. Get the schedule up.
Why don't we dive into the...
Yeah, we just go straight into it.
Let's go to the first block. Let's just get that going.
Yeah.
Because we've already burned enough time. We've had technical difficulties. Gremlins have inhabited everything today. Congratulations. Now they're gone. Hopefully, production misses triumphs again.
Woohoo!
Everybody, there was much rejoicing. Yay!
Yay!
Anyway. All right. So what we put forth this last week was to talk about Spelljammer.
Yeah.
And I spent
That's my jam.
the weekend reacquainting myself with Spelljammer. It had been a long time since I'd seen it. And by the way, pardon me if I sound like I've been gargling rock salt and razor blades for 10 years. I have bronchitis right now and I'm trying to deal with it. So if I hack, I'll turn my head. And if I sound like I'm trying to, imitate the best hellhound you've ever heard in your life, that's just the way things are going to be.
Or Optimus Prime.
I can't do Optimus Prime.
You almost just did.
Anyway.
It was right there.
Hey. So we were going to talk about Spelljammer, and there was some really neat things that I always liked about Spelljammer. First of all, it came out in the second edition.
Yeah.
And they actually was the time where they actually acknowledged the fact that there was something beyond the Forgotten Realms. I know, hard as that may believe.
The gnomes had their own.
They had the techno jammers.
The dwarves had their forges,
and then the illithids had the life jammers.
Yeah, and then some of the other races had life jammer, which was not created by the arcane, as far as I know. There were a bunch of different methods for traveling in space that weren't created by the arcane, but the standard was the spelljamming helm, and that was what you really wanted.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading about the elves, and look, the elves are just as much of the arrogant pricks in space as they were on the regular realm. So,
yeah.
Hey, here we go.
Yeah, the Elven Navy is always just kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, pretty much. That hasn't changed. I liked the fact that they took something a little different. They had the Gith out there, the Gith Yankee and the Gith Zerai. You got the Gith, the hippopotamus people, which were gun freaks from the word, go.
I think a bunch of British guys shaped like hippos on safari.
Pretty much.
That was them.
That's pretty much what it was.
And for the right price, you could hire them. You could hire a whole fleet of them.
Yep. And they would do exactly what you wanted them to do.
And they'd do what you paid them.
Until the money ran out, and then it was, this is going to hurt.
And then they'd sail away, or the enemy would, pick them up. But you also had some other weird ones too, like the Zix Shield, which were they came out, I believe. I don't think they were in the core books. They were in the.
They were compendium creatures.
It was not in the compendium. They were a playable race.
Yeah, I know, but they came out first as a monster in the annuals.
Oh yeah,
the little small annuals.
Yeah, but it was in the Black Spelljammer book. Yeah, and those were kind of cool. They were insectoids, kind of like 3 Kreen, except they had a habit of surgically grafting new parts onto themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you can do that, let's do that, right?
It's like, oh, need some wings. All right, let's tack some wings on, a couple extra arms, we're ready to go.
Flappity, flappity, happity.
And then they had the Drakon, which were draconic centaurs.
Yeah. And then there was always those damn Neogi.
Yep.
Hated those guys.
You also had the Hadozi, which were kind of interesting. You usually see them up in the rigging. They were like ape-like creatures with a thin flap of skin between their arms and their legs, so they could glide like flying squirrels.
Yeah. But the cool part about that whole setting was that it was a cheap excuse for some of us to jump from one realm to the next. Mm-hmm. We made contact with the Spelljammer. We paid the right price. They took us from here and landed us here.
Yeah.
And it was the dumbest thing in the entire world because, frankly, it just didn't work like that, per se.
Yeah.
But we were just like, the hell with it. It's our game. We'll do what we want to. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun, though. A lot of fun. And you were talking about they were bringing it back for 5th ed, and I know less than zero about 5th ed.
They seem to be bringing it back in bits and pieces. So they've added the Neogi to Volo's Guide to Monsters. They added the Gith to Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. They added the Gith in that same book. They added the Gith Yankee and the Gith Zerai as playable races.
Good.
And then in the new book, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, they just introduced ship-to-ship combat rules for 5th ed. So we've got all the pieces there.
Okay.
And there's already people that are running Spelljammer campaigns in 5th ed.
What were the weapon systems from Spelljammer? I don't remember very well.
Oh,
when you did your ship-to-ship combat in space, what did you use?
Oh, you had catapults and ballistas mostly, and then some had cannons.
Okay.
Like the GIF were particularly fond of cannons. They had one ship, the Great Bombard, which is mostly cannon, like a cannon.
Right. So the wave motion gun from Battleship Yamato.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And that was the only ship that they built. Otherwise, they used human-built ships most of the time.
So the interesting part for me that I've found so far is that it was it was probably the most unique setting I had seen to that point. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, Dark Sun was really cool.
Dark Sun was not cool.
It was terrible for players. But it was interesting. It was different. It wasn't your standard high fantasy D&D
Man, Dark
setting.
Sun was your chance to look at your players and go, I hate you.
Right? But yeah, that was the most out there that they got with D&D was Spelljammer.
I can see that for sure.
Are you looking for the?
I am looking for
the
this
list
right here.
Yeah. I think we're looking for the.
I'm looking for something.
For the list. Hey, there we go. That looks like a list from here.
That is it.
It could be anything.
Looking for 2. What's on the second one?
Oh, again.
I got it right now.
It is a great song, but I did it last week.
Oh, good. Because I wasn't done yet, actually.
That's why it was 4 minutes.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up to you, and this is something that I've actually had this conversation with players before. One of the things that I remember specifically reading in the Spelljammer manual was that any mage can sit down on a Spelljammer helm and direct the ship.
Yeah, any spellcaster. So
Right.
basically it uses up your spell slots to power the ship.
Right, which to me, I don't know, it sounds a little
Which means a psionicist
iconoclastic.
Which means a psionicist couldn't do it. That's why the Neogi had to have either special Neogi that could use arcane magic or basically hire somebody to do it, or use a life jammer. They just strap a slave in it and it just sucks them dry.
Trust me,
and not in the fun way.
I know. Life jammers were terrifying.
Yep.
Terrifying things. But the cool part about that was that the life jammers gave you an excuse to make hell a real thing in space.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was creepy as hell. Remember the pictures they gave you of the Illithid dreadnoughts, the big life jammer ships with the giant squids in space.
Yep.
And I was like, that's just no, that's just bad hoodoo.
Oddly enough, though, the squid ship was human built.
I know.
It's just the Illithid used them quite a bit too.
Yeah.
But ships like the Nautilus was, I think they were built by the Illithid. But even worse were beholder ships.
Yeah, I know.
Because one beholder is bad enough, but a whole colony
a whole friggin' crew of them.
Yeah. And they use their own like reality twisting magic force to drive the ship.
I know. That were the fun part about it is if you have an experienced GM and a fairly experienced set of players, when you get into the actual spell jamming stuff, if you can keep control of yourself and not go just ape shit crazy in the first 5 games, you can really have a lot of fun and flexibility. Yeah. But if you're not careful, man, it's Monty Hall all the way.
Yep.
And that was one of the things that I ran across. The only time I had any set of players that played Spelljammer, I was young. I'd been DMing for 2 or 3 years, and man, did I ever screw that up. Oh my God, it was terrifying.
That was pretty easy to do.
It was terrifying. Some jackass decided to take lenses and prismatic sprays and created,
built lasers,
freaking laser beams for the front of the ships, and I was just like, okay, it sounds like good science to me.
So you could just cast lightning bolt. That does the job.
Yeah,
Or in 5th Ed, you've got sunbeam, which is basically a laser.
I know. I just.
And it doesn't. It's not like pew and then it's done. It's a sunbeam, and we're like up to a minute. And you concentrate on it and keep it going. So anything that's in it's getting zorched.
That's just terrifying.
All right, let's move on. What do we have next?
The next bit that I put up there was going to be pin cushioning 201 with Andy.
All right.
Which is going to be where I'm going to sit down and talk about an advanced trap that I have used, or I have designed at one point. Now, part of this is a ripoff from a friend of mine from way back in the day, and he'll know who he is, and if he ever sees this, you can sue me if you like. It's been 30 years since I talked to the guy, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not really worried about it, but...
Okay, a couple questions actually.
Okay, what's going on?
So Pizza Christ wanted to add a little bit. I know. Pizza Christ was kind of curious on they're going to be starting a new campaign. They've got a lot of interest you guys and being a big deal.
Just do it. Yeah, just jump into it. Dive in head first.
Do not write 35 pages of notes.
Yeah.
You'll use 2 pages of them. Your players are going to go boo, and you'll have nothing else to do.
Pretty much. Yeah, just dive in and do it. That's Bards? Bards in 5th Ed are awesome. Basically, all the different subclasses of Bard take something that another class does, and then they just do it better as a full caster.
Also, someone else was asking Star Trek or Star Wars?
Both.
Star Trek.
I'm a huge fan of both. So. I kind of lean a little more towards Star Trek.
Star Wars was okay until, it died a quick death one year.
Yeah.
Lens Flare Abrams.
Yeah.
Hi, Scott. How are you? So I'm going to go back to pin cushioning 201, which is advanced traps. What? Okay.
For the chat for a bit, we'll let you guys know.
Fair enough. Cool. Pin cushioning 201. I'm going to talk about Marshmallow Doom. What you need for a Marshmallow Doom is a building that's at least 20 foot tall. You need a pit, 4 5x5 squares. You need about 4,000 gallons of marshmallow cream, and a player who has a serious greed Jones. Okay?
Okay.
And what you do is you create a hallway or a stairwell, and you have an invisible part of the floor. It's been enchanted to not actually be there. The illusion shows the floor in place.
Gotcha.
Now,
Okay.
the jump is 10 feet wide, but the last 4 feet is slanted at a 30-degree angle. So you can almost land and slide off. Okay? Now, your meta players are going to think it's a 10-foot jump. I can make that. I'll make the jump. The jump is actually another 4 feet extended because you slide off. But the pit itself is filled with marshmallow cream. Now, here's the great part about marshmallow
It's really
cream.
hard to swim in.
You can't swim in it. It's going to suffocate you, and it's very ignominious to look at your players and go, I died in a vat of the spooge of the staple of Marshmallow Man. Now, you only use this trap on players that have seriously offended you, okay? But if you really want to sweeten the pot, on the other side of the jump, several chests, assorted coins, esoteric wealth, the deed to a couple of pieces of property, and the name, location, and phone numbers of several available princesses. Or princes, whatever your case may be. And then you watch them jump across and die a marshmallow death. And the great part about the floor is still there. The illusion is still there. So all they hear is... And that's it.
Nice.
No more player. And that will be enough of pen cushioning 201 with Andy. Now, we are trying to get a format going here, kids, so please excuse me. Okay. Now, we are on Wild Rover.
All right. So I'm probably going to need to have you hold the book so I can actually see
Dave's
the
going to
words.
sing for us, and I'm not going to try to sing because my voice is broken. Okay.
All right. This should be Wild Rover, page 9.
Okay, I am holding the book. I am
just
the
so that I
official
can
book holder.
Peek at it when I forget the words.
Now, for
Because
any
that's
of
going to
you
happen.
who've listened to any music from the Irish lilt, this is probably one of the more better known songs. So enjoy.
I've been a wild rover for many a year, and I spent all me money on whiskey and beer. But now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Down to the house I used to frequent, and I told the landlady me money's all spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such custom as yours I could have any day, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. I took from me pockets 10 sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes they lit up with delight. She said, I've got whiskeys and wines of the best, and the words that I spoke, they were only in jest. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. I'll go home to my parents, confess what I've done. I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And when I actually can't read that from here. And if they caress me as oft times before, sure I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. I got it now. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. There we go.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, I actually couldn't read it the whole time.
I know, I saw that.
I don't lean in. That's what I get for not having glasses, right?
I have glasses and I can barely read.
I'm supposed to. Yeah.
And there's so much makes
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get on to the next part. We were talking about another block we were going to do called How to Train Your Party.
It can be done.
What's funny is I have 2 of my party members here in the house tonight.
What are you talking about? Don't you dare.
And I can talk from personal experience on how to train your party. Now, people talk about how to train your DM, right? How to be a better DM, how to be a better DM. What do you do to be a better DM? Oh my God, how about a DM? And one of the things you do as a DM is to train your party how to play within the game system we're talking about.
Right. And on top of that, you don't usually get a whole lot of players that ask, how can I learn to be a better player?
No.
It just doesn't happen very often.
Because it's your fault since you're the GM.
Yep.
Every time. Isn't that right over there in the booth? Just nod and say yes.
Yes.
See?
Drew, before you run out there. Oh, never mind. Drew's not paying
Never
attention.
mind.
New one.
So one of the things that I had to do in the process of training my party was to get them used to the idea of what I call real-time role play. And real-time role play was my opportunity because I in my head as a GM, I have a certain number of experience points that you're going to earn every time. And depending upon how well you do or don't do, you either earn them or you don't earn them. And part of that, one of that bonus is real-time role play. And there's a section of the game where I stop talking and I sit there like this and I look at you. And you have the setup, you have the payoff, you know what the situation is, and you have to role play that particular encounter. If you don't say it, your character doesn't say it. If you say it, however, your character does. Everything counts from that 3, 4, 5 minute span.
Sure.
And it gets them in the habit of trying to remember. And there are, like this past Sunday, as a matter of fact, Madam Ellie was flipping some lip and got demoted.
I also forgot to say sir so many times, knowing that this character would be reminded to say sir. Me, the player, did not remember to say sir.
Okay, yeah.
But the point was that she recognized it instantaneously because it's been around long enough to understand.
Yeah.
Kadra there, when we first started playing together, would sort of look at me and go, I want to roll my dice. Like, that's not going to do you any damn good. Figure it out. And she's like, okay, cool. And she started to figure it out. And now we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And understand, please, all the bullshit jokes aside, how to train your party is not actually us saying, you need to do A, B, C, D, E, of course, according to rules. No, it's more like, because we design the game, so to say, or we run the game for the players. And so we're encouraging them to try to get themselves into their role, do what they need to do to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's how you train your party.
Oh, and there is stuff regarding role play where you do kind of let your players abstract that out a bit. You've got, say you've got a player trying to intimidate the guard, and they're just going to roll for it. They're like, I'm not that mean, but my character totally is. And so you kind of let them abstract that out a little bit.
Sometimes, absolutely, but there are also times where I want to hear it. Like,
or when the bard is trying to seduce a trout or whatever, and the player is not that smooth, but maybe the bard is. And so they just they make a charisma roll and opposed by the fish's charisma.
Let me ask you a question: have you considered the idea of your turning attempts?
Of the what?
Your clerical turning attempts.
As far as what?
I train my characters when they make a turn the undead roll.
Oh, to actually say something.
They have to say something.
Oh, yeah.
And the better it sounds, the more bonus they get. I mean, if they walk up there and go, Jesus said go away, then I'm probably going to give them a bonus because it sounds nice at the time, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be. It could be Kellenvor, it could be Tempest. It could be, the fluffy kitty god of Norway. Who cares? The point is that if they put the effort into it, I'm trying to help them get into the idea of role playing, not role playing.
Right.
And so it's that to me is what How to Train Your Party is all about. But I mean, that's a very interesting little conversation that I've had a few dozen times in my life.
Yeah, I do love it when players like take it upon themselves to grab some of those bits. Allison, when she like grabbed a list of insults for vicious mockery.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a really cool touch.
Yeah, we've also got party members trained now to react to certain phraseology, which is always fun.
But I think I'm less worried about like the role play stuff like that than I am about like getting your players to show up on time, ready to start, things like that.
Man, don't even talk to me about being on time.
That's the really tough one. Is getting your players there on time. Trying to minimize distractions as much as you can.
That's never going to happen. It's distractions. Now we are
getting players to take their turn.
Yeah, we are coming up to the point where we're going to talk about the 2-minute intermission.
Oh, hey,
production mistress. We are at the 2-minute intermission mark where we're going to take a break, stretch ourselves, and I'm going to go off camera and cough and probably hack a lung up.
All right.
So if you will give us some intermission music or something to go on for the few moments, we're going to get out of here for a minute and try to relax a little bit.
So enjoy the soothing sounds of Burt Bacharach. We're going to get the intermission music from... was it? I can't remember if it was Life of Brian or one of the other ones.
Also, do you need a knife? And do you have a spare piece? It's fine.
You're watching and it's 6:45 in the morning and you're off work today and you're up watching and I love you with all of my heart and some naughty bits that I don't want to discuss on camera right now. Now we're actually going to get another we're actually going to do our block for Bardic Inspirations first.
Yep.
Are we back up and running again?
I hadn't touched it during the break.
Okay, so for what it's worth, we're back up and running again. The gremlins are strong tonight, guys. We apologize. Yeah. We're still working out some of the details, but during the last week, we decided to sit down and do some standardization and some blocks and stuff. And one of the things we talked about was Bardic Inspirations. And it's just an opportunity for us to sit down and run our mouths about music in general. And we try to keep our show thematic in a way. We're talking about Spelljammer. And Spelljammer is just, pirates in space. Mm-hmm. And there's 50 million things out there. That I think would tie in well. One of the things that I've been experimenting with over the years, but I've had problems recently because of some shinies, would be to play music in the background while I'm running a game or whatever. Mm-hmm. And pirates, man, it's God. How many bands can you think of?
Nothing really mainstream, but man, there's all kinds of stuff like Ailstorm would be really cool. They're like a pirate metal band. Yeah, they'd be fantastic for battle music and stuff like that.
There's a streamer online named Beardageddon, and when he closes his show, there's this song that he plays, and it's just this pirate victory song, and it's terrifically, wonderfully, holistically double Gouda covered, smothered in Swiss and cheddar cheesy. It's amazing. I love it.
But yeah, any kind of pirate music would be absolutely fantastic. You could also use ambient music, like stuff from the scores from sci-fi movies and things like that.
Yeah.
The scores from like Star Trek movies where you've got like a 10-minute piece that's all just kind of ambient, spacey music. That would work really well.
Long time ago, many years ago, I had a friend who ran games, and he would he'd play sound files, music files in the background during the game, and every time we played anything on the water, he had a recording that he played, and it was just noise from the seashore. It was waves. It was seagulls. It was bells. It was the creaking of boards and stuff. And it was like it was the damnedest thing I'd ever heard in my life. And I asked him where he got it. So I went out to the pier one day in the Isle of Palms in South Carolina, and I put a mic up and I plugged my little recorder into the side of the rail there, and I hit record, and I left it there for 5 hours. And he come back and he had the most authentic theme music there was for an ocean going game on the spot. And I thought it was just the neatest idea. And so like it's really fun to you can sort of devolve it like I feel like Blue Oyster Cult could be a good thing. Mm-hmm. I've always pictured a great Spelljammer song.
Anything from the heavy metal soundtrack?
I was gonna say I was just gonna go there. If you're in Spelljammer and you're in Wild Space and you're floating around, man, Don Felder's All of You, which is the song they're playing when they get really high on the plutonium Nyborg and they're driving through space. That song is perfect for that whole theme. It's just perfect. And it has nothing to do with pirates or cannons or swords or anything. But it's a feel you get from it the whole time, Yeah.
Shine On You Crazy Diamond would be a good one for that.
That whole 35-minute intro.
Yep.
The 6,000 minutes long for its totality. That was a good album. Actually, you could use the whole album, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No reason you couldn't. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. So
one of the things that I haven't gotten into, or I don't know anything about actually, is any of that whole pirate metal thing. I have zero experience with it whatsoever. Are we okay, production mistress? Good. I have friends who are, frothing at the mouth fans of Ailstorm, and I'm like, who again? And they're like,
good stuff.
And they're like, you are officially dead to me because you don't know who else. I was like, I don't know.
Another good one that could be fun is Cosmic Horror. They're a Klingon metal band.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's a Klingon metal band?
Oh, there's a few of them. But yeah, that's totally a thing.
That's almost just too perfect.
Right?
I didn't know. I remember somebody told me that there was a Warcraft thing you could do too, with some sort of rock band that was in Warcraft.
That's Elite Torn Chieftain.
Elite Torn Chieftain?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the character from Heroes of the Storm, isn't it? Okay, all right.
Nice.
I'm not a WoW player. I don't know anything about it. It's kind of fun to learn about that stuff, though.
Retrowave fans?
Yeah.
What the future that never was, the 80s.
Yeah. And even like old craft work and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
There's some industrial that would work really well. And any stuff like that.
You know what? Anything... And this is going to sound a little obscure, but it works for me in my head anyway. Anything Russian composed between like 1600 and 1902.
Shostakovich would be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Most of his pieces would work fantastic.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's also Holst. The Planets.
Yeah. How about King Crimson?
Yeah, King Crimson could work too.
Now, King Crimson would be more of a space thing, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you could drag out Frank, though, could you? I think Frank's a little bit too off the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, you could go digging through like almost any genre and probably find something that could work.
Yeah, I don't think you can bring blues up too much into it, though.
That'd be perfect for like, you're in a tavern at the Rock of Brawl or something.
Okay, fine.
Although what would be really great for that is those like old-timey piano covers of songs that they've had from like they've used on Westworld.
Oh, okay.
What about like postmodern J songs?
Oh yeah,
B
stuff
and
like
J
that.
would be great for something like that too. This would be great for that. But it one of the things that I find interesting for me, I can't. My main genre of music, of course, is blues, rock, and metal, and I can't pigeonhole a lot of that stuff into that framework in my mind, and so it kind of makes me reach out a little further from where I normally go to find other stuff. One of the things that I thought was interesting that I always thought would be a great space theme, and this almost makes my skin crawl to say this. But anything from like that 80s era, Enya,
Oh yeah, Sarah
yeah,
McLachlan.
any of that,
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
would go with the space thematic stuff when you get out there, you know. And then you've got, yeah. So I know a lot of people who are into, when they're running the space games, they're always playing dub in the background.
There's also the soundtrack for The Fifth Element.
That would probably work pretty well too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be kind of a new one for me, though, to kind of go in that direction. I don't know much about, you know, that soundtrack itself. One soundtrack that I thought would work pretty well, because they released it as an ambient sound file, was the all the underwater stuff from the movie The Abyss.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that working really well.
That was really fun, you know, the whole idea of fluidic space, you know.
Mm-hmm. Which is basically what the flow is. I mean, it's a fluid. It's not super dense, but your ship is effectively swimming in flammable gas.
Pretty much. That's real fun.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, being in my house after it's chilly night.
Yeah, it's fun thing about, you know, the Spelljammer is, you know, you can douse your lanterns before you go into the flow.
You better, because otherwise.
And and consequently that'll use up all the air in your air envelope too. So
yeah.
So now you're burned and you don't have air. Yeah. So.
Oh. The grand takeaway here, guys, is when it comes to music, especially for the theme, I usually reach for something that sounds to me more like it matches. I like a modern with a modern, an old with an old, you know. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, because you do what the hell you want to do with it. It's your game. It's your stuff. It's your thing. Don't let it limit yourself, and don't let your brain get trapped in one category. Leo Marischoli told me that. The first time I heard him do metal covers of Lady Gaga, about my eyes rolled out of my skull. But anyway, another story for another day. And right now, Mr. Dave is going to favor us with something
we're at a
fun.
song. Okay.
And he is going to play something that I think is very pirate sounding. It sounds perfect for the day and the age, and it's called All For Me Grog.
If you could grab the songbook and
hold the words up for you.
turn to whatever page it's on. I don't remember what it is. It's in the index. Shouldn't be too hard to find.
All For Me Grog.
Yeah, because I forget words all the time. So, yeah, there are way too many songs in there.
It's not that we're really official, it's that we're old and we forget things.
Well, yeah, that's so I can find stuff in there. Yeah.
Help me here. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Really not far down.
I didn't think it was. It was over here somewhere.
That's what I thought. There it is.
40.
I found it. Page 40.
Now,
And do you believe it's in G?
it is in G.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this one, so this is going to be interesting. It's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. So gone for beer and tobacco. I spent all me loot in the house of ill repute, and I think I'll have to go back there tomorrow. Oh, where are me boots, me noggin boots? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, so geez, I can't quite moving around. The heels, they are worn out, and the toes are kicked about, and the soles are looking out for better weather. Where is me shirt, me noggin shirt? It's all gone for beer and tobacco, for the collar is all worn, and the sleeves, they are all torn, and the tail is looking out for better weather. It's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. It's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all me tin on the lassies drinking gin, for across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where is me bed, me noggin bed? It's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, I lent it to a whore, now the sheets they are all tore, and the springs are looking out for better weather. Oh, where is me wench, me noggin wench? She's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, her is all worn out, and her is knocked about, and her is looking out for better weather. It's all for me grog, me jolly grog. It's all gone for beer and tobacco. For I spent all me loot in a house of ill repute, and I think I'll have to go back there tomorrow. It's all for me grog, me jolly grog. It's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all me tin on the lassies drinking gin, for across the western ocean I must wander. There we go.
And we managed to keep it PG.
Yep. That's actually
it's PG.
It's written down in the book on,
the clap
on that verse. It says clap in parentheses. Yeah.
Of course, you know, when you're talking about that kind of thing and you mention the word clap, let's not get into that conversation.
Yeah.
But anyway, now, here we go. All for me grog. Congratulations. Now it's time for things your players hate with Dave.
Oh boy.
5 things your players hate.
Ooh, 5 things. 5 things my players hate. They never tell me because I think they might get killed off. So there's one.
You're not doing my list, damn it.
They probably hate
yours.
getting killed off. I bet that's something. I have to kind of guess. Pit fiends, or not a pit fiend. Yeah.
Not a fan of pit fiends.
So I don't think they necessarily hated it, but they were frustrated by the end. But I basically got them to spend like an hour working on this elaborate plan to kill this possible pit fiend that might come out of the sarcophagus. Because they'd been told by an imp that he couldn't tell them what's in there. So they asked him, well, can you tell us what's not in there? And it's like, well, it's not full of bananas.
This is going to be a story where
coins.
you're such a bastard, isn't it?
And he starts rattling off all these things. And one of the things he slips in there is, well, it's not a pit fiend. And so they just assume that this imp is telling the truth, which was a terrible idea. And so they go through this elaborate plan and spend like an hour working on strategy. And then they kick the lid off and there's nothing in it.
I bet your players hate that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I kept a straight face.
I don't know how I managed to pull that off, but it was
that
good.
was your 3rd thing your players hate. Give me 2 more.
Oh, let's see. I don't know, Trish, you've played any ideas? Riddles? Yeah, I hate riddles. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, once in a while they're okay.
It's still going to be way too hard for a player.
So my trick for finding riddles for D&D players is I look in like the 8 and under category. So if an 8-year-old or less can figure it out, then that's probably going to be a good one for the players.
Watch this. My players in the corner over there. Things my players hate. 1 word. Darth.
I like Darth.
You like Darth? Do you like Darth?
I love Darth, actually.
Darth was a city, but anyway.
I think for Jerry, it's probably wolves. You only almost got eaten.
Almost got eaten.
Almost.
That
Almost got eaten by wolves.
It doesn't count.
They tried. That's for sure. I think one thing that a lot of players probably wouldn't be too interested in and might even hate is being in a game where you're fighting just the same kind of monsters just over and over and over again. It's boredom is ultimately like the real killer for a campaign.
Yeah.
When the players get to the point where they just feel like they're grinding the same thing over and over again, or there's nothing exciting to grab their attention. There's no story going on.
Yeah.
There's no character development.
Yep.
Another one that players hate is feeling like they're left out of things. And as a DM, it's really hard to sometimes catch that and start throwing a bone at those players to get them more involved.
It's that's how to train your DM right there.
Right.
That's a whole different can of worms for a whole different day. But yeah, you're right. And now I'm going to do 5 things your DM hates. Number 1, when you get done describing the situation, the room, the monsters, the bad things, and what's going on, and you stop and look at them, and this is the look you get from the table.
Sure it's not this.
Well, that helps. But that's mostly Allie.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the
That's
stare at
mostly
the phone.
this is my impression of Allie during most games.
So,
Anyway,
Oh, it's my turn. Can you describe the room? Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
background character.
but the interesting part is that you explain things and they look at you like, what do I do? This is where you role play, ladies and gentlemen. That's one thing your DM hates. The second thing your DM hates. When were we supposed to start playing at 2:30? Yeah, it's 4:15. What happened? Oh, they haven't stopped discussing the second edition versus third edition war on the second, variety of it. That's great. Third thing your DM hates, it's making these elaborate, huge, beautiful dungeons and these things and the traps and the monsters and the really cool stuff, and you just decide, fuck it, I don't want to go in there. And then you wing it.
yep.
And they look at you like that was pretty uninteresting because you were just winging it, weren't you? Yeah, I was.
And then we do random things like, oh, we're trying to open this up again.
The fourth thing your dungeon master hates is, and you touched on this briefly. Full-blown description, everything's laid out, figs are on the table, maps drawn, things are set up. You get done, you look at the players, you've done your voices and you've done all your creepy things, and they look up and go, can you describe the room to me again?
Yeah.
No, I will not. And the fifth thing that the DM hates.
By the way, your character's now blind.
Yeah, no shit. And the fifth thing that your DM hates. And I understand that it takes a little while to get things under control and know what's where and what you're doing. But when you're 3 months into something and you're looking at me every time, roll this check. That means I roll this plus this, right? No, that means you roll the square root of 347 times the square root of 5 million. Yes, I meant that. And that are the 5 things that your DM hates.
Sorry.
Next week we'll do the other 15.
Million.
Sorry.
She just said that she did.
I was talking.
Wow. Can you describe the room again?
Can you describe the room again?
I'll watch it tomorrow.
All right.
There you go.
Now, we're going to do a wrap up and a takeaway.
All right.
Normally what we do is, like I said, we're trying to standardize things. We would be wrapping up, doing a takeaway, describing it with foreshadowing a guest for next week. And we don't know yet. We're still working on it, and that's okay because we're still trying to grow and get things done.
My 3 guests are at Heiser.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
okay.
fine. And there are a couple. I'm thinking about bringing my guy Chris down.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a great musical guest, and he's a great guy to talk to. And I found out the other day that he's more of a gamer than I thought he was. I thought he was just a video gamer, but he actually has tabletop experience.
Sweet.
So he actually has an opinion. It's great. But we're going to discuss that later on. But to recap, Spelljammer, super, super, super cool. If you ever get a chance to go back and check it out, check it out. If you're an experienced GM, you can take the basic idea of the story and whip up a campaign and throw your players into it. If you're not an experienced GM, fake it till you make it.
Yep. Oh, and I've got a bit of what's new in D&D.
What you got?
Oh man, they just debuted it at showed a bunch of it at D&D Live this weekend. And they're doing, it's called Baldur's Gate Descent to Avernus. It's Mad Max in Hell. So think Fury Road with demonic siege engines that you can customize and drive around the river Styx on.
So the mob rules for real.
Yeah.
So Sabbath comes to life. I like that.
Yeah, big giant infernal machines powered by souls.
Did you ever see the demonic cars from D20 Modern?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Something similar to that, yeah.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
But the premise of the campaign is you kind of get thrown in hell. Way too low level to be there. So it should be fun. Huh?
Would it be wrong for me
me to calm it down.
Yeah, I do plan on getting it and running it when it comes out in September.
I think at some point in the near future, I'm going to whip out the old school Temple of Elemental Evil, and I'm going to offer some players to come up and run it and have a good time with it.
You know, they have a new one now for 5th Ed already.
I don't want to play the new one with 5th Ed.
I'm just saying. You
Kay's over there shaking her head like, no. I think she'd rather have her fingernails ripped out with pliers before she'd rather play that campaign again. Allie, you never played the Temple of Elemental Evil, have you? Oh my God. It's like sandpaper underwear running a marathon.
Is that from a DM's perspective or players?
Both.
Neat.
Both. Now, sometime in the near future, I want you to do me a favor.
Okay.
I want you to sit down on one of these blocks, and I want you to talk to me about 5th Ed. I want you to talk to me about 5th Ed and how you'd make Spelljammer work for 5th Ed as a DM, okay? We'll do it on how to train your party one night to get us ready for, maybe getting some Spelljammer going, okay?
Sounds good. It's actually not as complicated as you might think.
I've been told that,
Making
but
the switch.
I've been trying so hard to avoid the 5th Ed.
It plays a
books.
lot like 2nd Ed without the
Dumbass
stuff
Fatco.
that didn't make it work.
There were some great things there. There were some terrifying things there. But anyway, again, 3 things before we get ready to wrap things up. I'm going to remind you, please follow. It does us a world of good. It doesn't cost you a dime. And it helps the stream. It helps AFK Tavern. It helps us out. And we'd love to see you follow. We'd love you to hit the notification button. So when we do go live, it does pop up and tell you that everybody's on. And we're not the only thing from AFK Tavern. Dave runs a game on a stream. There's other features coming up.
Wednesday nights at around 6.
And I know that production mistress, Mother of Evil Kayla, has other plans in place to get other things going on pretty soon too. So again, please hit the follow button, please hit the like, and we're going to play you out, and we're going to see you next week. Thanks a lot for showing up, and
Thanks for coming.
Time.
See if I can get this up here without knocking it around everywhere.
448.
I'm in standard right now.
A little bit of deep, you guys. Okay.